Parent Guide, Supporting Your Baby in Week 5. Your baby is starting to talk to you. They don't have words yet, but if you know how to listen, and this video will show you exactly how, you will hear them, and what you do next will shape the way they communicate for the rest of their life. Welcome back to Tiny Steps Weekly. In our baby development video this week, we talked about the emergence of proto-conversation, the first real back-and-forth exchanges between you and your baby. Today, we are going to focus on how to respond to that, how to use this week's growing communicative ability to support your baby's development, and how to handle the particular challenges that Week 5 tends to bring. This is one of the most practically rich weeks we cover in the newborn period, because your baby is giving you more to work with than they ever have before. Let's use it well. Your primary focus in Week 5 is responsiveness, and specifically, the quality of your responsiveness during your baby's alert periods. By now, you have a real sense of when your baby is alert and ready to engage. These windows are your most valuable resource this week. What you do during them matters more than almost anything else in terms of supporting your baby's social, emotional, and cognitive development. The single most important thing you can do during your baby's alert periods this week is practice serve and return interaction with increasing intentionality. Speak to your baby. Pause. Watch for any response. A sound, a movement, a change in expression. Respond to that response. Pause again. Let the exchange breathe. Do not fill every silence with more input. The pause, the waiting, is where your baby does their work. That moment of silence is when their brain is processing what you said, formulating a response, and preparing to take their turn. Rushing past it robs them of the experience of being in a real conversation. This sounds simple. It is harder than it sounds. Most adults are not accustomed to the slow pace of newborn proto-conversation. We tend to fill silences. Practice leaving them open. Week 5 is a wonderful time to introduce your baby to the world beyond your face. Gently, briefly, and always within their tolerance. A simple, high-contrast mobile above your baby's playmat or changing table gives their developing visual system something engaging to track during alert periods. Research on early visual development confirms that high-contrast patterns, bold black and white geometric shapes, simple faces, strong color contrasts, are significantly more stimulating to the newborn visual cortex than pastel or low-contrast images. You do not need an expensive toy. A piece of black and white printed paper held at arm's length works perfectly well. Reading aloud continues to be valuable this week, and you can begin to make it slightly more interactive. As you read, point to images and name them. Pause after you name something and give your baby a moment to look. Use varied vocal expression. Change your pitch. Slow down for emphasis. Use a slightly sing-song quality for certain phrases. Your baby is attending to all of it, and every variation in your voice is giving their auditory cortex new information to process. Music is also a rich developmental tool in Week 5. Singing to your baby, lullabies, nursery rhymes, even songs you simply enjoy, exposes them to the prosodic patterns of language in their most musical form. Research has shown that infant-directed singing activates areas of the baby's brain associated with both auditory processing and social-emotional engagement simultaneously. Your voice, singing, is one of the most neurologically rich experiences available to your 5-week-old. Sleep in Week 5 is a topic I approach with parents very honestly, because this is often the week when sleep deprivation truly begins to accumulate in a way that affects functioning. Your baby's sleep is not yet consolidated. Most 5-week-old babies are still waking 2 to 3 times per night, and the longer stretches that some parents began to see in week 4 may not yet be consistent. This is normal. The circadian rhythm is developing, but it is not yet fully established, and biological sleep consolidation at this age is still heavily dependent on individual neurological maturation. What you can do this week is be consistent with the sleep environment and the pre-sleep routine you began in week 4. Darkness, white noise, swaddling, a consistent sequence before sleep. These environmental cues are accumulating their effect over time. They will not produce dramatic changes overnight, but they are building the associations that will support longer sleep stretches over the coming weeks. One thing I want to address directly this week is the 5-week sleep regression that many parents experience. Around 5 to 6 weeks, some babies who were beginning to show longer nighttime stretches suddenly seem to revert, waking more frequently, being harder to settle, seeming more unsettled overall. This coincides with the developmental leap happening in the brain this week and is completely normal. It is not a sign that something you were doing has stopped working. It is a sign that your baby's brain is in a period of rapid reorganization. Hold your routine. It will stabilize. The bonding activity I most strongly encourage in week 5 is what I call the slow conversation. Set aside 5 to 10 minutes during an alert period. Just you and your baby. No screens, no background noise. Hold your baby so your faces are close. Begin to talk, softly, slowly, using the natural rise and fall of parentese. Then pause. Wait. Watch your baby's face. When they respond, with any sound, any movement, any change in expression, respond to that response. Let it be slow. Let it be imperfect. Let it be real. This is not just bonding. This is brain building. Every exchange in this slow conversation is strengthening the neural circuits for language, for social connection, for emotional regulation. You are doing something profoundly important, and it costs nothing but your attention and your time. Baby massage continues to be a valuable bonding and regulatory tool in week 5. If your baby responds well to it, a short massage after bath time can help regulate their nervous system before sleep and deepen your physical connection. Use slow, gentle strokes with warm hands. Maintain eye contact and narrate what you are doing. The combination of touch, voice, and gaze creates a multi-sensory bonding experience that is particularly rich for a 5-week-old brain. The mistake I see most commonly in week 5 is what I think of as over-programming. Parents filling every alert window with back-to-back activities, toys, sounds, and stimulation in an effort to maximize their baby's development. I understand the impulse. You love your baby. You want to give them every advantage, and the alert windows feel precious. But a 5-week-old baby has a very limited processing capacity, and an alert window packed with constant stimulation does not produce more learning. It produces overwhelm. Your baby's brain learns best when it has space to process. That means activity, then pause, stimulation, then quiet, engagement, then rest. Watch for signs of overstimulation, gaze aversion, turning the head away, arching the back, becoming fussy during interaction. When you see these signals, your baby is telling you they need a break. Honor that. Put them in a calm, quiet environment. Reduce stimulation and let them recover. Respecting your baby's regulatory limits is not giving up on their development. It is supporting it. Another mistake to avoid this week is abandoning the bedtime routine when it does not seem to be working yet. 5 weeks is still very early for a routine to produce visible results. The brain needs weeks of consistent repetition before a sequence becomes a reliable sleep cue. If you started a routine in week 4, keep going. If you haven't started one yet, start this week. Consistency over time is the mechanism. Do not measure it by this week's results. At 5-week visits, I pay particular attention to the interaction I see between parent and baby in the room. What I am looking for is not perfection. I am looking for attunement. Does the parent notice when the baby looks away? Do they follow the baby's gaze? Do they pause when the baby pauses? Do they respond to sounds the baby makes? The parents who do these things naturally, often without realizing they are doing anything at all, are the parents whose babies, in my experience, tend to be the most socially and emotionally well-regulated at later developmental stages. Attunement is not a technique, it is a relationship, and it is built one small, responsive moment at a time. If you are not sure whether you are being attuned to your baby, try this. Next time you are interacting with your baby, put your phone down, turn off the background noise, and give them your full, undivided attention for 5 minutes. Notice what they do. Notice how they respond to you. Notice what happens when you pause. That noticing, that full presence, is attunement, and your baby feels it. One of the most common questions I hear at 5 weeks is, when exactly will my baby smile? My friend's baby smiled at 4 weeks, and mine hasn't yet. Should I be worried? The social smile typically emerges between 5 and 8 weeks of age, with 6 weeks being the most common timing. The range is wide, and within that range, every point is normal. A baby who smiles at 4 weeks and a baby who smiles at 8 weeks are both developing entirely typically. What matters is not the precise timing, but the direction of travel, that your baby is becoming progressively more alert, more socially engaged, and more responsive over time. If you are seeing that trajectory, you are in good shape. If your baby is approaching 10 to 12 weeks with no social smile and no other signs of social engagement, no eye contact, no response to your voice, that is worth raising with your pediatrician. But at 5 weeks, please do not compare your baby to anyone else's. They are on their own timeline, and it is the right one for them. 5 weeks is a threshold moment in the newborn period. The hardest stretch is definitively behind you. The first real social smile, that moment every parent remembers for the rest of their life, is ahead of you, and it is close. You have spent 5 weeks learning someone entirely new. You have done it in the most demanding conditions imaginable, without sleep, without certainty, without a guidebook that covers your specific baby, and you have done it. Your baby is fed, safe, growing, and increasingly connected to you. That is everything. That is the whole job, and you are doing it. Week 5 is almost over, and week 6 is when the smile arrives for most families. We will be there when it happens. Subscribe to Tiny Steps Weekly so you do not miss it. Every week, 2 new videos. Clear, calm, science-based guidance for every step of your baby's journey, from birth to age 5. We are honored to be part of yours, because every tiny step matters.